you know how long it took me to like convince him to add like pink floral items to my house? I feel like every single piece has been a battle where I'm like, trust the process. Trust the process.
By that I mean trust me.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm George, the co-founder of Bluethumb, and I'm joined by my colleague Amy. Welcome to the Art in My Home podcast.
We uncover the surprising stories from the art collections of unexpected guests.
Today's guest is Chantel Mila Ibbotson. Chantel is a home styling and cleaning guru and the author of the Dream Clean book. She's the founder of the natural cleaning product company Mila and has grown a loyal community of over 2.7 million on Instagram alone. If you want to know how to organise and clean your house better, you should check out her content. Her house does look amazing online as well, and her home styling tips are famous internet-wide. And I'm a little worried about what she's going to say about the state of this office here, but a big welcome to Chantel.
Welcome,
Hi.
Chantel. How are you going?
Yeah, good.
Good.
So tell us about your home. I've seen it on Instagram. It's incredibly well kind of organised and obviously cleaned. What's the theme of it? How do you want people to feel when they come in?
So I would probably describe my home as, I mean, we live right near the bay. So, you know, there's a lot of coastal elements that we've kind of brought into our home, a lot of coastal colours and a very kind of neutral pastel aesthetic with kind of pops of colour throughout.
Sure.
We do have 2 small children. So as much as I love a clean and organised home, living with a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old and my husband who's like a 7-year-old, it's not always clean and tidy. And so, you know, a home is meant to be lived in, and at the end of the day, it's about creating an environment that you feel great in and, you know, you feel relaxed to be able to come home to at the end of a busy work day. So it's about those simple things that you can do each day to create that beautiful environment while also not getting overwhelmed because, again, a home's meant to be lived in. It's supposed to be a space that you feel good in.
Totally.
Yeah.
What kind of vibe do you hope people feel when they enter your space?
So I like people to feel at home, like welcomed and relaxed when they enter the space. I think smell is a really big part of that. Like a lot of people, like when we live in our house or we live in our office space or, you know, work in our office space, we have what's called like nose blindness, so we can't like smell the space that we're in.
Totally, yeah.
So, you know, I'm very conscious of that. So I'm always conscious about, what this place smells like and then the feel of it. So, you know, the feeling of warmth in a space, I think art's a huge part of that and bringing in that colour and depth and, feeling of warmth.
I love that nose blindness.
Yeah.
I have never thought about, I've thought about it, but I didn't have a name for it before. But it is a thing.
How do you solve that?
Yeah.
When,
without lighting
you're
candles
immune.
everywhere.
How do you even know?
Well, that's the hardest thing is that, you know, sometimes you'll go on a holiday for 2 weeks and then you'll come back and then you're like, what does my house smell like? That's the time when you can actually like smell your space. But the key areas of your home where those like, you know, home smells kind of embed into is like your couches, your rugs, sinks, bins, like those kind of areas. It's not only like wiping down a bench top, that's not going to get rid of like the smells that are naturally in your home or change the smells, but things like upholstery, that's something that actually soaks in you know, smells or cooking smells or whatever you've got in your house. So cleaning those kind of areas,
Amazing.
or deodorising those kind of changes the smell.
Oh, I just imagine I need candles everywhere now. I just need them on all the time. And now I'm conscious, I'm like, what if people are going to nose blind me on my house? Oh, God.
Yeah, that's super interesting. You notice it when you go to people's homes with pets or whatever. They don't,
You totally do.
Interesting.
Or even just go to my parents' house, like they cook a lot.
Yeah.
And so, you know, their house has it's not a bad smell.
No.
It's just a certain smell that smells like home.
Yes.
And that's probably a mix of like, the candles they light and whatever they do. But also there's like cooking. I don't know.
Yes, totally.
It's just like
it's
there's
a thing.
warmth to it.
It's their house smell and you kind of
Yes.
know what the smell is going to be, and it's like doesn't matter what they like candlelight, but when you know what the smell is going to be when you get there, you're like, this is their smell.
But sometimes that's also lovely.
It is
like,
lovely.
You know, sometimes that's, again, it adds to that warmth and that feeling of warmth when you enter a space.
Totally.
But just kind of tailoring it to, the feeling you want your guests to feel.
Totally.
And how does art fit into your house?
So in our house at the moment, we've got quite tall ceilings. We've got like about, I think the highest point is like 3 meters or 3 point something meters, and we've got vaulted ceilings as well. So we've got a lot of white, blank walls in our house. So we like to incorporate very like large scale artworks usually, and then because we live near the bay, we try to incorporate more like landscape, garden, and floral kind of themes and elements through the house, just to have that balance with the bay outside, because like, you know, not too much coastal, and just kind of balance it a little bit. But so art plays a very big role, because if we didn't have art on our walls, it can feel a little bit cold and sterile. So yeah, we do incorporate quite a bit of it throughout our house.
Yeah, with all that space. Do you have a kind of like, do you have a theme for your art, or do you have a particular style of art that you like? Sometimes when we ask these, people go back and like, oh, I didn't think I had a style, and actually I do.
I was actually thinking about it yesterday, because I was like, do I have a theme? And then when I walked through the house, I was like, I do. Yeah. I'd never considered the fact, like, you know, when I like a piece, I just like it, and that's what would draw me to it to purchase it. But I wouldn't ever think that I've like curated any kind of pattern, but I guess I have. And the pattern would probably be like abstract pieces and landscape. So they're probably the two things, and a lot of Australian artists as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
And what sort of abstracts?
Well, that Jen shoeing piece is gorgeous. And that's like that. It's just the colours that drew me to it originally. Like, it's got that kind of khaki and the, you know, orange tones through it as well. And that works really beautiful against my home and like the colour scheme that I've got in my home. There's like warm terracottas, but then the sage greens, and it all ties together really beautifully. So yeah, pieces like that, love it.
I love a like a really textural abstract, or it's that real chunky, like
like big colour blocky stuff.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that would be really good in like a big white, like lots of white walls when they really pop like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And do you have some other art pieces you wanted to talk about that you've got in your home?
I have a lot of Adele Naidoo pieces
in
my a whole heap.
Very much so,
I love her work.
Yes,
so I've got
too.
2 prints on either side of my bedside of hers, a really very large one, I think an extra large canvas in my guest bedroom.
Sure.
Because our guest bedroom has, again, those really high ceilings, and just one of her, I think it was called Boho Muse in that room, and oh my goodness, it is beautiful.
Something about her themes are kind of similar to Jen's as well. Yeah, so I see how that carries a lot. So very similar themes to like Jen's like abstract flowers kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful. And any other works you have?
I think those are the 2 main artists
sure.
that I've got in my home.
Beautiful.
Do you ever have like a battle for a piece you want? Maybe your partner's not into it. Like, is it all up to you, or do you sort of how do you decide what makes it into your house?
Do you know how long it took me to like convince him to add like pink floral to the house? I feel like every single piece has been a battle where I'm like, trust the process. Trust the process.
By that I mean trust me.
And what I say goes anyway.
Yes, exactly.
It was a courtesy ask. It wasn't like you had a choice.
And he's happy. He's happy now. They're on the wall.
Happy now, but like I think it's the whole happy wife. It's like if you're happy, I'm happy.
Okay, yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, I love Jen shearing too, but I sort of it does feel feminine to me, and like I actually had my eye on a flat lay ashtray downstairs. I can't remember who that's by. But
that's Carrie Matheson.
Carrie Matheson, this amazing. Like smoked cigarettes in an ashtray. I don't smoke.
So family friendly, that one.
And my partner was like, no.
But do you know what could look really cool? If you were to curate like 2 pieces that worked really well together, one more masculine and one maybe more feminine, and then have them as like on either side of your bedsides. Like I feel like that could work really
that's a great
well.
idea.
And like, you know, instead of having one big piece above your bed, having like 2 mini pieces on either bedside, and then kind of bring in a mix of the 2 things. Yeah, I feel like it could work really well.
I like that too,
bedside
actually.
Tables full of books.
Yeah, and then you hang them just above. I like that idea.
Draw the eye upwards.
Everyone always does that, the big one above the bed,
that,
but I like that idea. Break it up a little bit more.
Biography books here, and Lawrence fiction.
True, that would work.
Okay. Great, I'm taking that home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting my ashtray.
Chantel said I can have the ashtray, sorry. And you mentioned kids, you've got a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Yes.
And I'm sure, you do have a lot of content about kind of getting your home, ready, battle tested for kids or whatever. Have you ever had to consider it for kind of how you decorate and making it kid-friendly as well?
Yeah, definitely, particularly when they were younger, actually, because when I started the page 4 years ago, so the kids were like 1 and 3, and so around that time, there was a lot of things, if you were to style your coffee table, for example, your 1-year-old's going to knock all of that styling off your coffee table. So, you kind of candles too low down, and think about what plants you're using, because if they were to kind of get into the soil or whatever, you might be, there's all these things that you needed to consider, particularly at that time. Also toys. Toys are like so brightly coloured and obnoxious, and obviously they love them, so you're never going to get rid of them, and you never want to give them beige toys. Like if they enjoy colour, you have to give them that colour. But there's certain little tricks that I learned along the way to still maintain that really aesthetic home while still giving them their toys. So for example, with Legos, we have Legos in all sorts of colours all throughout the house, but we keep them instead of toy boxes, we'll use, homeware baskets to put them in, and then drape a throw on the top of them. Yeah. So when they're not in use, it just looks like a styled piece in the corner of the room, and when they are in use, they look like a monstrosity.
Yeah. Hide the sins.
Exactly.
Genius, I like that.
But it's just the best of both worlds, and that's what I mean by, like, a home's supposed to be lived in, but at the end of the day, it's also space that we want to have a really relaxing atmosphere. We don't want to feel overwhelmed at the end of the day, and sometimes for people like me, Lego strewn all over the place is really visually overwhelming, and I can't relax if the space looks like that.
For sure.
Yeah, it's about finding those balances.
For sure. Yeah, and I guess with kids it is a bit harder that, like, it's not always going to be perfect as much as you want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. If you could have any piece of art in your home, and it doesn't have to be like a gentry or anything like that, it could be the Mona Lisa, but if you could have any piece of art in your home, what would you have?
So there was a piece of artwork in my parents' house when I was growing up, and it's still there now, but my dad bought it around the time that I was maybe in middle of high school, and it was a Charles Blackman, and it was this girl wearing a straw hat, and she kind of had her head in her hands, and it always just really spoke to me, and it's probably around, maybe because I was relating to the time that, at the time I was a bit younger. But even when I go to my parents' house now, that piece, every time I walk past it, I'm like, I don't know, it just does something to me.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's it.
Yeah.
That Charles Blackman is
So nostalgic.
It's nostalgic, and it just evokes an emotion. And I think that that's the main thing about art. It doesn't matter necessarily what it looks like or necessarily what the colours are, but it's the emotion that it kind of evokes in you, and that's kind of unexplainable, but it just does that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100%, yeah, how it makes you feel. You have to ask for that as a hand-me-down.
Hint, hint, Dad.
You were saying your dad has quite a big art collection.
Yes.
I would love to see. I bet you could just look at it all day.
Oh, he will have you over. Yeah. And he will talk to you about it for hours because I think he just wants to have people that he can talk to about it.
Love that.
But so he's curated a collection that he loves across his, the downstairs of his house.
Yeah.
And, it's really beautiful.
Is he a floor to ceiling art hanger, or is he like a more spread out kind of?
Spread out.
Okay.
More spread out. Yeah. So it's literally like a gallery. Like you walk through,
beautiful,
and there's just kind of at eye level pieces that kind of just line his walls.
Fantastic.
Loves it. He really loves it.
So he sort of would be an art collector. Do you feel like you grew up with an art collector dad? Is that how it feels?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really funny story. So my dad, so he's very big into art, and he was bidding once for, I think it was also a Charles Blackman, but a piece of artwork online, and his screen name was Dancing Rose because my mum's name's Rose, and he was bidding against a person called Violet, so it was kind of funny because it was like Rose versus Violet. Anyway, he lost out on that piece and he didn't get it in the end. And then I was at my best friend's house, and he came to pick me up from my best friend's house, and her mum opens the door and the piece is there.
No.
Kay Violet was my best friend's mum, and he was bidding against her, who was like 2 streets away from her, like on the internet. Like, what are the chances?
Amazing.
And then he was like, "You're Kay Violet," and she was like, "You're Dancing Rose." It was just this whole thing of like,
Oh my God, Dancing Rose.
exactly. That was like my screen name.
My secrets are out.
Oh, that's so
Have they
good.
fought online again since?
Not that I know. Probably both changed their
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
names after that.
That's really funny. What a small world.
And
Yeah.
does he have other Charles Blackman pieces or any other kind of, I guess, notable art?
Yeah, so he's got, I mean, I don't know a whole heap about his collection, but I believe Charles Blackman and Arthur Boyd are the two that he's got quite a bit of.
Cool. Let's talk about what you do. You have this incredibly popular kind of, is it home cleaning and decoration sort of, social following? And I was looking, and there's almost 3 million just on Instagram, but then like millions of views on TikTok as well, like 24 million when I looked last time.
That's insane.
If you 3 million people is like 10% of Australia follow you. What's that like?
You put it that way. So when I first started sharing home tips, I started sharing it with the intention of helping people. I never started it with the intention of it becoming what it is today. And so we were in COVID lockdowns at the time. I had both the kids at home. I was working part-time. My husband was working full-time. And the house was a mess. Our minds were a mess. It was just so hard to be able to relax in that really cluttered environment and cluttered space. So I started sharing, just as like a creative outlet, what I was genuinely doing around the house. So like, what are certain things that take 5 minutes to do, or you can just kind of tweak your routine slightly, but it makes a big difference, So like, if you're washing your linen, what can you do to soften it and make it smell really great, so then when you put it on your bed, you get a better night's sleep that night? Or, how do you roll your towels to make your bathroom, give your bathroom that kind of hotel and spa-like feel, so you just mentally feel a little bit better at the end of the day? And so I was just sharing little things that I was doing around the house to 14 people, mind you. Like, I was sharing it to probably the people who are like pity following me at the time. No. But it grew and it took off, and then people started putting in their own requests, and I was answering those requests, and the number kept increasing, but what I'm doing has remained the same. So I still read through all the comments, I create videos on the top requests, I, share what I'm genuinely doing around the house, and yeah, it's now what it is.
Was there a particular video or point or something where it just went turbo?
A little bit. I think the growth's been quite like steady over the years. It hasn't been like a huge spike in any particular time. But I think after we got out of COVID lockdown and people were able to entertain at home more, and that's when I'm talking about like the smells and everything, like people became really house proud, I think.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Across the board. And that was a time where I think my content really resonated with people, and
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because you're just stuck inside all day. Like, it's like, how can I make this house better than what I was doing, pretty much?
Exactly.
So good you did something. I just took up like Uber Eats and home delivery booths.
Yeah, I did that too. It was like, congratulations on your 100th order. And I was like,
don't shame me like that.
don't congratulate me on that order. I would rather live
Everything I didn't need to know.
Ignorance is bliss.
I'm worried I'm in their top tier spenders, because whenever I have a problem, they immediately give me credit and fix it. I'm like, am I in your like your whale category? Oh, amazing. Cool. And you wrote a book and published it last year. How was that? What was the process like? And
So, again, everything I do is based on my audience's requests. So I had a lot of requests at the time that was like, we love your tips and tricks, they're great, but how do I take them and, if I have 15 minutes to clean my bathroom, what order do I do it in? What's the routine? What's the flow, basically? And so I started putting together different like room by room tips, but then on top of it being room by room, it was also by cleaning level. So there's clean in 15 when you've only got 15 minutes to clean your home and you just want that speed clean of the spot, or you know, you want to do it daily. That's what you can do in that 15 minutes. If you've got a little bit more time, like a Sunday reset, you can do what I call clean it like you mean it. So a little bit of a longer clean. And then those yearly, annual, like cathartic deep cleans, there's also like the options for those, but you do those once or twice a year where you're cleaning out filters and things like that. So I started organising things into a really logical way while still keeping the options of those 5-minute tips, but just organising the organising tips, basically. And that's how the book came about.
Okay.
And that's, the structure that we kind of went with. And then through the publishing and editing process, we kind of got halfway and I said to my editor, I was like, I actually want to change things around completely. He was like, great, Shan. I went onto realestate.com and Domain and I looked at floor plans of houses and I actually structured the book based on certain like most common floor plan structures and how people move through their house. So, you know, if you're cleaning your bedroom and then you might have an ensuite off your bedroom, so bedroom flows into bathroom. And, you know, bathroom might flow into laundry, which is another wet space. Laundry flows into outdoors. And I looked at, the flows and floor plans of houses and it's all structured in that way. So a lot of thought went into it. And in the world now, which is crazy.
Fantastic. I like that idea of like how you've done your research and going onto Domain and cleaning like that. I'll just try. I feel like sometimes, especially you're like, I've got to clean today. Where do I start? It's probably the main problem. Yes.
So the book starts in the kitchen because it's kind of the heart of the home. It's where a lot of the mess happens. We use it every single day and it's also like the family hub. It's kind of where everyone comes together. Or if you live with a roommate, it's something that you both use. It's a shared spot. And so that's where it starts and then it kind of flows from there.
Yeah, for sure. And so much can happen in a kitchen. It's like the one space where everything can happen that needs all the cleaning.
Marie Kondo famously gave up on being organised once she had her third kid. I read a quote from her and she said, "Now my house is messy." Which I thought was classic. And you have 2 kids.
Yes.
Do you think a third would put you into that late stage Marie Kondo or you would manage?
Maybe, but it all comes back to like cleaning is a way to feel less overwhelmed, not more overwhelmed. So if you're cleaning to an extent currently or you've got a cleaning routine that is so overwhelming that you wouldn't be able to keep it up, that's when you need to look at what's practical, what's feasible within your house. So, you know, if you're doing these like cleaning 15s or 15-minute cleans a day, you can do that and getting, you know, your family involved in that as well. You can do that, you know, without it feeling crazily overwhelming. But if you're doing something that feels too overwhelming, it's time to switch it up. Yeah.
And Chantel, did you, prior to the lockdowns, which obviously gave a lot for everyone to consider, did you have an interest in like your cleaning processes or like an interest in it, or were you just quite good at it? Like,
I don't. So when I was a kid, I was always that kid who would like reorganise and restyle my bedroom and then bring my mum in and be like, look, mum, like
what I've
new room, new me. Like it's a whole new
I swapped the bed around.
The bed's over this side now. So I guess in that way, maybe. I have always had a bit of an interest in it, but it was only when I just started sharing. Again, it was what I was genuinely doing around the house. So it is something that I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, after my daughter Mila was diagnosed with asthma, that was when I went down the route of cutting out a lot of harsh chemicals around the house and switching to more eco-friendly alternatives, playing around safely with like DIY sprays and after testing out what works, then being able to share those online. I really love it. Like, it's something I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's great, though. It's nice.
And I think that's why the content's so authentic.
Well, that's it, yeah. And so off the back of your natural cleaning products, you have a cleaning product company now.
I do.
Yeah, Mama Mila. So obviously, post your exploration of, like, having your daughter having asthma, like, what's safe, what works, things like that. How did you kind of get that off the ground?
So... obviously having 2 kids, they came home all the time with like these really tough stains on their clothes, like, you know, mud, sweat, paint, you name it, like really, really, really tough stains. But at the same time, they both had really sensitive skin and still do have really sensitive skin. So I found there was not really a bridge in the market between eco-friendly products and really tough on stain products.
Like ones that actually work.
Stuff that works and works on those really hard stains. So I partnered with an Australian manufacturer. They're actually based 5 minutes from my house. And we created this product together.
Yeah.
And so Mum and Mila Home, there's laundry detergent, stain removers. We've just launched our laundry crystals, spray bottles for all the DIY sprays. And I love it. It's been really good.
It's a great, I mean, and that's a fair point. Like, I like the eco products, but do they actually do, like, they're healthy, but are they actually like doing the clean as much as you need them to do? So definitely a hole in the market there.
With an audience so big, you must get some kind of negative comments as well, and like some negativity. If I get one negative comment on something like this, I'm like shattered. Be positive, people. How do you deal with it?
So within my audience, I don't actually get a whole heap of negative comments, which is really great. As soon as something goes out into the media or like, you know, the Daily Mail or something like that, oh my goodness, like there's a stream of negative comments from there. And you just have to, at the end of the day, if you're helping even a couple of people, that's why I create my content. Like, you know, it's not really about me at the end of the day. Yeah, if I'm helping people, if a couple of people at least are coming away and being like, oh, that was really helpful, I've switched my day-to-day and it's made my life a bit easier by doing this new thing that I've learned. That's what I'm here for. Like, that's what I'm doing it for at the end of the day.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And what's next for you this year?
I mean, I'm working on a lot of things. Lots going on in the background. But really exciting things to come.
Okay.
So,
Expanding a few more products in your company as well.
Yes. So we've just launched the laundry crystals and there's a whole heap more to come.
Yeah, fantastic.
From there,
I bet there is actually so much you can actually start developing in the lines of cleaning
100%.
products.
Like,
you could keep going on. That work. Yeah.
You know, that's a market that needs it.
Definitely.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thanks, Chantel. Thanks for popping in to chat to us today. Fascinating art and cleaning product cross together.
Collab.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Let's think about that.
Thank you, guys.